Hey everybody, John the Editor here, obviously, and I'm going to begin with a question. The question is, what in your mind is the common or universal signal on YouTube that a person who has uploaded a video is lying or misrepresenting themselves or misrepresenting some point in a video? I think the single signal of that is as follows. You'll have to look at your screen. Comments turned off. When you see that, that's pretty much a very common or universal symbol for people who are familiar with YouTube that the content of the video is deceptive or fraudulent in some way. Now, I'm talking about a video uploaded about a week ago on the 6th of August that I saw about 3 days ago and has been bothering me for a number of reasons ever since then. And the reasons are layered, and I'm going to try to go through them with you today. The video is, of course, Equality Can't Wait.
Hi, I'm Maya Rudolph. Do you love bad news? Then you're going to love my friend, Melinda Gates.
According to the World Economic Forum, it will take us 208 years to achieve gender equality in the United States.
Now, Maya Rudolph, the first person in that video, is an actor and a celebrity. She's on a show called The Good Place, which has got 2 seasons or 3 seasons or 4 seasons. She's a celebrity. She's a rich person relative to you and me. The next person in that video is Melinda Gates, married to billionaire Bill Gates. And just right off the bat, I find it peculiar, no, I find it quite off-putting that celebrities and millionaires, or perhaps billionaires, are telling you and me about inequality. There's something wrong here. I mean, this is something kind of grotesque, to be honest.
What?
That's the most specific bad news I've ever heard.
208 years? Over my dead vagina.
Now, one of the first things that bothered me about this video on the very first time I watched it was their central claim that it's going to take, according to them, 208 years to achieve gender equality, whatever the hell they mean by gender equality. And here's the problem. They've put a number to it, which means that they've measured something and plotted it over time, and then plotted into the future and found the line zeroes out at whatever 208 years. But what are they plotting? They don't say. How hard can it be? Like, why can't they tell us what it was that they measured to come up with their 208 years? Maybe it's homelessness, measured between men and women. Maybe it's rates of suicide. Maybe it's workplace death rate. Maybe it's life expectancy. Maybe it's who controls most domestic spending. Or maybe it's where most of the tax base gets spent in terms of health issues for men or for women. We don't know. They don't tell us, which suggests to me that they're lying. Now, one of the next most obvious problems is at the end, which I'm going to just skip ahead and play for you, where they say this.
I invite you to have one conversation this week about gender inequality. At home, with a friend, at work.
Get talking so we can change this.
So you're being invited by these celebrities, by the producers, by the script writers and all the other people who produce this thing to have a conversation and start talking about this, except for one thing. Comments are disabled for this video, as you can see. Look at your screen. Now, at the point of my recording this, it has 805,000 views, it has 521 upvotes and 2,000 downvotes, so more than 4 times as many downvotes as upvotes, which means that most of the general public watching this can figure out they're being hosed, they're being manipulated and lied to. But it gets worse. Now, because that 208-year timeline they give is attached to an undefined term, and they hadn't provided any of the metrics of what they were actually measuring to obtain that 208 years, I ended up on the Equality Can't Wait website, and I started following the links, and this is what I found. The Equality Can't Wait website links to the World Economic Forum website, and they're the people who actually produced the video that we're talking about. And it links to the page where they outline what they want to do. Now, the first thing you might notice on this page, aside from the girl in the cosplay spacesuit, is the headline, Accelerating Gender Parity in Globalization 4.0. And there's 2 things that I can see here that seem to be a problem. One is gender parity. On this page, they don't say gender equality, even though this is the website of the organization that produced the Equality Can't Wait, and they're talking about gender equality in that video. On this page, which they linked to, from their Equality Can't Wait website, they talk about gender parity, which means equivalence. So they want the same number of, I don't know, software engineers that are female as there are software engineers that are male. They want the same number of corporate CEOs to be female as there are corporate CEOs that are male. And the idea here, I think, is that jobs like this are handed out like tickets to the funhouse ride. You get in line and, okay, you form two lines. We'll give one to the men, one to the women. One to the men, one to the women. That's not how high qualification jobs work. People in those jobs, whether they're male or female, struggle and fight and work their backsides off and achieve those jobs based on merit. It's not, we don't just give them out because, oh, well, I gave out 3 jobs for men and now I'm going to give out 3 equivalent jobs for, that's stupid. That's the recipe for a system that will collapse because you're no longer having a meritocracy. The second problem, though, accelerating gender parity in globalization 4.0. Gender parity is in lowercase. Globalization 4.0 is in uppercase. It's obviously more important to these people than gender parity. Globalization 4.0. So, we're almost into Alex Jones conspiracy territory, one world government. The key paragraph here, I'm going to read, and then I'm going to expand on what it is they're saying. It reads, "The country accelerators work with a multi-stakeholder community to increase women's participation in the labor force, close gender gaps in remuneration, advance more women into management and leadership roles, and embed parity into in-demand skills and education. Together they form a growing global network of economies accelerating gender parity, with 15 economies expected to join by 2020. What are they saying here? So, the YouTube and the Twitter tiers of the Equality Can't Wait campaign use the word equality, and I think most people can understand that. But when you read the World Economic Forum publicity material on their own website, they stop using the word equality and they start using the word parity, as well as talking about globalization 4.0, and they talk about making conventionally unpaid work done in the home into paid labor so that it can be part of the tax base, so that you can be taxed on every single thing you do. No human activity shall go on except that which we tax. They also want to erase the differences between men and women in their careers, which means removing women's ability to choose what kind of a life they want, right? You don't get to stay at home and be a mom and be, cared for or provided for by a husband. Not that I really think that's great, but it's a choice that women have now, and it's going to be taken away. Feminism is going to take that away from women, forcing all human activity into wage labor so that all human activity can be taxed. You can be taxed taking care of your baby. You can be taxed vacuuming your own floor. You can be taxed doing your shopping. You can be taxed doing your laundry. Every single thing that you do is going to be taxed. And for women, the choice to be a stay-at-home kind of mother person or a career chaser, that choice, which women have at the present, is going to be taken away. And also disrupt the family so that individual humans have no strong foundation for their identity, which means they're much less able to resist governments interfering in their lives. They are rootless without a foundation, and they're easier to govern from a powerful central government erasing local governments, which means also no representation for the individual, because the bigger your government gets, the smaller you are in relation to it. So once we understand this, which is basically the beans being spilled right on their own World Economic Forum website, I think we have to ask the question honestly and seriously, is the feminist project a fundamentally anti-human project? And unfortunately, I think the answer is yes. Thanks very much for listening, and as always, have a lovely day.